Welcome back, nerds. So, like you might have noticed at the end of the last episode, we kind of cut it short. We made it into a two-part episode. This will finish up our introductory episode, going over WandaVision from launch till now. Normally, Jake would be here with me, but we're just doing this really quickly because we decided to break that first episode into two parts. I just want to say thank you for coming back. And with that, before we hop back into the episode, I just want to reiterate that this episode this week is sponsored by Raise Energy Drinks, a super healthy alternative to your normal energy drinks with zero crash and all the energy that you want in your day-to-day routine. With that being said, let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast. Nerd. Welcome back, everyone. Like I mentioned, this is actually part 2 of our first full episode. We got a little carried away. Now, before we actually finish out that first episode, I just want to take a quick second and talk about our sponsor for this episode, Raise Energy Drinks. So go ahead and take a quick listen, then we'll hop right back into the second part of this episode. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with zero crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, and powered by their refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
Episode 6.
So, episode 6. Yeah.
Let's start out with how it opened, because the huge shocker was episode 5 was Evan Peters and seeing Quicksilver. But a different Quicksilver than we're used to in the MCU. So starting off, it was Halloween episode?
Yeah,
right?
It's Halloween in the 90s.
90s, yep. So we're decades. Every episode is a different decade in television.
Yeah.
So now we're in the 90s. We finally get to see our heroes in their comic-accurate costumes
yep.
as their Halloween costumes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fun nod because obviously if you look at comic books, because it's print, they can be a little bit more out there with, their costumes and the uniforms that different heroes wear, because they don't have to worry so much about practicality.
And we don't get it. This is the first time in film that we get to see Elizabeth Olsen wearing the headdress as
part of her
Scarlet
outfit.
Witch.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's the Scarlet Witch.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Podcast about nerds, and I blanked on that. Jesus Christ.
No, it's probably has nothing to do with the fact that we drink.
What? Speaking of, I'm going to put this here and drink this because the ice is melting.
But yeah, so we get
comic accurate costumes. The kids are also dressed up as, well, one of them. The other one's not really in costume, I don't think.
Not right away, but at the end he is.
But we see Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so at first we get to see Wiccan in his, not exactly comic accurate, but like kind of Like if a little kid was gonna make a costume of a comic accurate costume, that's what it looks like.
Kind of has a Naruto vibe to it.
And then the other kid makes fun of him for it.
Yeah, and
then ends up in costume.
Basically a miniature Quicksilver.
Which is cool to see Quicksilver with the hair as like comic.
Yeah, with the actual like hair and the slicked up sides.
Yeah,
it looks silly, but it's just fun fanfare to actually get, those nods to the actual origins, which is really awesome. It's the first time in the show, other than the Maximoff twins, that we see any children in the episodes.
And we should maybe go back to episode 5. Vision does say to Wanda about their own children. He says, this is again after Vision has kind of caught on to the idea that the whole thing is made up. He says to Wanda, how come there are no other children in Westview? And now the following episode, episode 6, which is a Halloween episode, there's a ton of children all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's just kids everywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nightmare, really, if you don't like kids. But there's children everywhere. And it's just kind of, they, for almost the entire episode, Wanda and Vision are not in the same scenes together because they're...
In the beginning they are, and you could tell there's still like that tension between the two of them after the last episode because, again, Vision is fully aware, well, not fully aware, but he is very aware of the situation at hand. Wanda is still trying to control him, but it's not really working. Am I right?
Yeah.
By saying that? Okay. And there's, in the beginning of the episode, they kind of not exactly argue. They're being very polite to each other. But her, okay, go have fun, and him saying, I'm going to be a part of the neighborhood watch, also very much sounds like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just basically, hey, I don't like what's going on here, so I'm going to go do my own thing.
Yes. I could have done that if I worded it that way without the swearing.
It's okay.
I like the swearing.
The fuck word is good.
Yeah.
Basically, Vision leaves. He goes off to go do his own thing around the town. He basically is just wanting to explore, see how intricate this whole charade is.
But he tells Wanda that he's going to go be the neighborhood watch, basically.
Yeah. Make sure that people aren't like vandalizing and stuff like that because it's Halloween. But so then that leaves Pietro, Evan Peters' character, to
take the kids
trick-or-treating with Wanda, and he's just a giant man-child. He's running around with them.
They do really turn him into a bro, kind of, don't they?
Yeah, they make him a little fratty.
No offense to the bros out there.
Much love. You keep that visor on upside down.
Not anymore. Come on.
I'm sure some of them do.
The frosted tips poking out of the top.
Oh, it's just the Guy Fieri golf look, really. Even though I love Guy Fieri, much love, brother. Flavortown, if you want to sponsor us. He's
definitely watching this. Yeah.
If you want to sponsor us, we got you, bro. No, so yeah, Pietro's just kind of like a bro. He just wants to, like party and just get into mayhem.
They're causing trouble, stealing other kids' candy,
smashing pumpkins, all that stuff. But he makes a comment about the twins, Billy and Tommy, or Wiccan and Speed, running around, and calls them demon spawn. I mean, if you're talking about like preteens on Halloween running around just like being little dipshits like children are, especially on Halloween.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's the night where it's like okay to get into trouble. Like your parents can't get that mad, right?
Well,
depends on what you do. But so he calls them demon spawn, and it's played off for laughs. But really, it's a hint back to the comics, because in the comics, Vision is not the father of Wanda's children.
As we kind of talked about a little bit earlier in this, Vision has no penis.
Yeah. No dong.
And he's also dead.
Which means it's definitely not a functioning magic dong.
Yeah. So the kids are very real, Wiccan and Speed, but they are not Vision's kids. So that leaves the question, who's the father?
Right. And we kind of talked about how, it's been hinted that Mephisto has something to do with this utopian suburban lifestyle.
Yes.
Well, in the comics, Mephisto basically helps Wanda father children because she wants to have kids.
Yep.
And so he basically is like almost like a surrogate. Like, I don't think that they actually like...
He helps her like will them into existence. I almost said extinction.
So like he helps her create
kids.
Yeah, her kids. We're not going to go into how that ends later on. No. Because that's all speculation. And
we don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
If we're right, which we could be wrong, but if we're right.
If we're right, there's going to be some trauma.
Yeah.
Well, more trauma besides a dead brother and a dead lover. And being whatever.
A psycho bitch. If you're watching the show.
Going full crazy.
They are definitely shaping Wanda up as...
She crazy.
Kind of like a villain, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely leading her down that path.
Hopefully there's a turnaround at some point, but right now...
To an extent. I don't want her to have a full redemption. We'll get into that when we start speculating a little bit more after this. Yeah. Mephisto is the father, and if we think that Mephisto is portraying himself as Pietro, him calling the children demon spawn isn't just like your kids are crazy.
Because Mephisto is a straight up demon.
Yeah, they're just speaking truth.
Yeah.
Like, they the devil.
Yeah.
What up? I think that Evan Peters is definitely Mephisto.
Yeah.
Because he also makes a couple of comments later in the episode. So while Halloween's going on and, they're doing their family stuff, Vision is wandering through the town. And as he gets further and further away from Wanda, especially from Wanda, but also from, like, the city center, you start seeing, like, residents, but they're, like, on little loops. So there's, like, a lady, like, hanging up Halloween decorations, and she's just stuck in a loop.
Just keeps doing it, yeah.
And it zooms in on her face, and she looks like she's in agonizing
Well, and there's,
pain,
like, a tear coming down.
Yeah, and she starts to cry.
Yeah.
But she's not speaking. She just looks trapped.
Yeah.
And Vision is just, like...
Tries to talk. He tries to talk to her at some point. Or somebody in that
He tries
neighborhood.
talking to someone else as he gets further on. Because as he even gets further from the people that are just stuck in a little loop, he comes across people that are, like, frozen solid. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, asking, like, hey, are those your kids? Like, are you okay?
Yeah. So you kind of see that Wanda's influence is more centered around where they're living. Yeah. And
I think it's just more of where she is where she has the strongest power.
Yeah.
I would assume that, like...
The further and further you get away from that, there's less attention to detail in her mind controlling them.
Yeah, because if she's framing the sitcom, she's going to be in the scenes.
Yeah.
So who cares what other people are doing when she's not focusing on them?
And to mention this, because I had mentioned this already, that we were going to edit out, but now I'm plugging it in anyway. Because now that you said that girl looked like she was in agony, there is a part in episode 5 where Vision is in his office, his workspace, talking to a coworker, and this is when he's kind of catching on to things. He touches the guy on the temple, which you see in episode 6 too. He can kind of bring people out of their state of mind by touching them, and then also put them back into their state of mind under Wanda's control. And you get to see once he touches the guy on the temple, he comes out of it, and he starts immediately begging Vision to help him, and that you got to help me. She is keeping me here, and he's basically says he's like in excruciating pain, and then Vision kind of taps him like a dick right back into the agony.
More like that's too much. I can't handle that right now.
Yeah.
Good night.
Right back into the agony he said he needed help from. So then you also see, like Chad was just saying, in episode 6, the girl that's on the loop hanging Halloween decorations, you see her face in it. It's very scary looking, and she you can see tears coming down because she is clearly in pain.
Yeah. And probably terrified.
And there is a couple theories. One is that Wanda is really messed up and doing this to everybody. Mm-hmm. The other theory is that potentially when that guy says that I was just talking about in that Vision Untapped, that when he says, because he never specifies who is keeping him there, that there is somebody else kind of keeping them in that state of mind. We've got a few sketchy characters on the board right now. We have Dottie. We have Agnes. There's some fan theories about Ralph. We haven't really touched on him. I'm going to leave that one alone for now.
Yeah, Ralph is Agnes's husband that we have never seen. She just talks about him sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we see him as Frankens. Isn't he the...
No, that's Herm.
Oh, shit. Cut that part out.
I'm leaving it in.
Oh, God.
No, that's Herm. Yeah, so we've never seen Ralph.
We have not. So we assume Ralph must be Mephisto.
That would be
the most that would make
logical.
The most sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so there's some crazy shit happening right now. And then so let's the commercial in episode 6. Let's break that down. Explain the commercial, and then I can kind of tell what I thought, and you can kind of say what you thought. And
so the commercial, it's for yogurt. It's called Yo Magic, but it starts out. It's super 90s, like claymation feel to it, like
a Go-Gurt commercial, basically.
Yeah.
Or like
Go-Gurt meets Street
Sharks or something. Yeah.
Oh, do you remember Street Sharks?
Good God. Yeah, love it. I loved Street. Well, remember Samurai Pizza Cats?
What? No.
No, yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay, that wasn't weird at all. So it's like it's a Go-Gurt meets Street Sharks commercial with a little bit of claymation, like James and the Giant Peach style, and it's this guy on a stranded island, like a deserted island.
A kid.
Yeah, like a child, and he's like stranded and starving.
That's literally like a sand pile with a single palm tree on it.
Imagine in SpongeBob SquarePants, like the island that they show before they go to Bikini Bottom. It's that island.
That's it, yeah.
So it's this kid, he's sitting on a deserted island. He's basically like, how am I ever going to survive this? And like, animated shark on a surfboard, like, jumps out of the water, lands on the beach, and is like talking to the kid. And he's like, all you need is this. It gives you everything you need. And he hands him a yogurt.
But it's called?
Yo Magic.
We're going to say it's short for Your Magic.
Yes, it's very
Yo
much...
Magic.
Your Magic. But Yo Magic yogurt. Because, like, yogurt, Yo Magic. Haha, funny. And the shark is like, yeah, have
Tosses
this. It gives me all the energy I need to shred the waves. And then he fucks off.
Yeah.
He just, like... he goes back to, like, surfing, right?
Tells this kid to eat all this dairy and then goes back and eats a bunch of bloody fucking shit in the ocean.
Here's some yogurt. That'll save your life, kid. Don't get dysentery.
But what happens to the kid?
And then the kid is like, oh, man, thank you. And he's looking at it, and he, like, tries to, like, peel the lid off, like the little tinfoil lid, and he can't do it. And then they, like, time-lapse the kid dying and turning into a skeleton.
Starving to death, and that's it.
Like, super dark, also.
Great, yeah.
But, yeah, so that's the commercial.
So... my opinion we have different opinions about this.
Yes.
My opinion about this is that Yo Magic is a reference to Wanda as your magic, and the kid represents the people in the town that she's got her mind control over. And her magic is...
Not whore magic.
Not whore magic. Is keeping the people in the town at bay, much like... her magic is keeping the person on the island. I think that basically it's saying that if Yo Magic is her magic, it's the people are going to die under her rule. Because if you see the part that you were talking about where Vision gets to the outskirts of town, the people are less interactive. And I think that those people are going to die if under her Yo Magic.
I didn't see it that way, even though that makes a lot of sense. What I saw it as is even though her magic has gotten so powerful that she can, control this entire town, right? She's got the magic going, got all this power, but as it goes on, the one thing that she's never been able to truly elude is death. That's what has caused so much of her trauma already. is, so you look at, like, you know, her brother Pietro or Vision, you know, who she loves, you know, there's, her magic can only do so much, but she'll never be able to actually elude death. So that's the way I saw the commercial, because
Right.
even with, like, her powers, you know, being as powerful as they are, so that she's, you know, controlling this entire town, you know, she can't escape death. And I think that's the one thing that's always eluded her, and that's why she's, you know, trying to reanimate these people. But even in the...
Well, not reanimate them. They were alive already.
Vision is... Yeah, but reanimated because they're
shit.
dead.
Yeah.
So, like, Vision is reanimated. I mean, you see the clips of...
Her stealing the body.
Of her stealing the body, but also at the end of episode 3 when he comes back into the house, and it's just, like, his dead corpse.
Oh, yeah, that was dope.
And she,
I like how they
freaks
did
out.
that with Pietro, too, in the last episode. Yeah,
and then
cool.
in episode 6, they do the same thing with Pietro, where you still see, like, all the bullet
just
holes
riddled
from
through him,
where he got shot in Age of Ultron. So that's the way that I interpreted that commercial for the episode, was that even though her power is so vast and the entire purpose is that it can sustain you, she'll never be able to beat death.
Yeah. So we get to see Vision. We touched a little bit already on, he sees the people. They're less interactive with the town, and they're on the loop. Vision then talks to Agnes. This is huge, in my opinion. He gets to talk to Agnes. She is basically parked in her car at the outskirts of town, and she's stuck there in her car, just staring off into space. Vision approaches her window. And I think it's important to mention that she is dressed as a witch, because, as we said, Agnes is Agatha Harkness, who is a witch from the 1700s.
Allegedly.
This could be an actual Easter egg, not a Peter Parker farted in a jar. And which is an inside joke between Chad and I. I'm sorry, nobody else will get that.
If you guys stick around long enough and get enough, and we get enough subscribers, we'll put that on a shirt.
Yeah. So she's dressed as a witch, which is kind of, you know, a big plug. She's staring up into space. Vision approaches the window, asks her what she's doing. She kind of rambles on for a little bit. Vision does his touchy-touchy on the temple, and she snaps out of it for a minute. And she's like, oh my god, you're an Avenger, you're Vision. And she goes, oh my god, am I dead? And Vision says, no, why would you think that? And she says, because you are. And there's a little confusion between the two of them. She gets a little...
She goes, like, full manic.
Wild. Yeah,
she
gets
starts
a little...
to cackle like a witch's laugh.
Yeah.
Which I think is also telling.
And then Vision kind of goes, enough with this lady, and taps her back into Wanda's, or whoever's controlling things, framework. Okay, use framework? I know that's technically from...
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing.
Back into the hex. We'll say the hex. Taps her back into the hex. She laughs it off like nothing happened, turns the car around, goes back to the town. Then Vision goes forward and goes through the wall of the hex into the real world. And Chad, what happens to Vision when he gets into the real world?
He basically starts to disintegrate.
Yeah.
He breaches the barrier, but it's still trying to, like, pull him back in.
Yes.
Because he can't really exist outside of it.
Because Wanda is keeping him together.
Yeah, because he's dead.
He's dead.
In the real world.
So he exists inside of the hex, but outside of the hex, without Wanda's influence.
He's a pile of scrap metal, basically.
So as he exits the hex...
Yeah, he starts to, like, deteriorate. And they make it super dramatic, like, you know, part of his, like, body is, like, flaking away and being pulled back into the hex as he's trying to escape, trying to tell, you know, the people at Sword that have set up a camp around the perimeter, like, you need to help these people, help them, please.
He's begging Sword for help for the people trapped inside. So he's definitely going against Wanda, which will be interesting to see in the next episode.
Yeah, but during this time, as that's happening, Billy and Tommy's powers manifest.
Well, I forget which is which.
Pretty sure Tommy
one
has
of them,
speed.
One of them's already did. One of theirs. One of them's done
already got powers.
We'll just call them by their superhero names, Wiccan and Speed. Speed, his came already earlier in the
a little
episode.
bit earlier in the episode, yeah.
But this was the first time we get to see Wiccan's powers manifest.
Yeah, he basically can sense that
he hears Vision screaming.
Yeah, Vision's in trouble. He uses his power to stop Speed from basically zooming around the town. They go and tell their mom. They tell Wanda, like, hey, Vision's in trouble. I don't know where he is. Wanda is like,
need you to focus.
Find
him.
Where is he? And then they can't find him specifically. So basically what Wanda does is she goes full Scarlet Witch, basically. And just expands the perimeter of the hex, or expands their reality. Which,
during this time, Darcy and the people of Sword notice that Vision's coming out. They're all out there watching Vision come through the wall. Darcy's begging Sword to help Vision. Nobody's doing anything. And then that dickhead guy from the leader of Sword, whoever his name is,
the director,
handcuffs Darcy to the front of his car and then runs like a bitch. And leaves her handcuffed to the front of the car, and she gets absorbed by Wanda's...
Yeah, when Wanda expands the perimeter, the entire Sword compound gets absorbed.
And we get to see, as it's expanding, the people of Sword, a circus appears, and the people of Sword kind of turn into...
Carnies.
The Carnies, yeah. I was going to say circus people. I love Carnies. That's better.
Carnies is just a more fun word.
Yeah.
Probably not as PC as circus people.
Yeah.
But they basically get absolved into this false reality, and now their characters that they're being forced to play are
part of Wanda's
Carnies.
Yeah. Part of Wanda's imagination. And it is worth saying, I was talking to Chad about this a little bit earlier before we started, that there is a number without looking at the actual clip, there's a number that you see in the episode.
Wasn't it 327?
No,
is that what you said?
237 or something like that? I don't remember. It's like whatever.
Along those lines.
There's a number. And that number is the issue number, the comic book issue number, where Wanda and Pietro join the circus. And then at the end of the episode, they do show the circus becoming a new part of Wanda's
town.
Vision or whatever the hell. Yeah.
Wanda's Vision.
Hey-o. So yeah, we'll see what gets to happen there. Next week will be really exciting. I mean, there's only 3, maybe 4 episodes left, and it's getting wild.
And really, the only people that escaped that perimeter expansion are
Monica
and Agent Wu.
And then dickhead who ran. I don't remember his name.
Butthole director.
Yeah.
Tyler something.
Well, if it isn't Darcy. Well, if it isn't the guy who called us a kill squad and almost got killed by his own kill squad.
Yes. He's a butthole.
Yeah.
And a half, really. It's just like a really big brown eye.
He's a very reminds me, I don't want to mess up your nice table here.
So nice.
He very much reminds me of Alexander Pierce from Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, which was played by Robert Redford. He's now like the head of Sword, but we get a very
he's very militant.
We get a very bad vibe from him. There's a part in the episode
first, ask questions later kind of guy.
Well, and there's also a part where Darcy is breaking down his security wall, and that's why she stays behind when Monica and Agent Wu go to meet Monica's contact. And she's like, there's something here, I know it, I just got to break down this last part of the wall. And unfortunately that ended up in her getting swallowed up by the hex.
Yeah. And we don't know who Monica's contact is yet.
But Chad has a theory, and I want to hear it.
I do. We'll get to that in just a second. Her contact is basically, Monica is trying to find a way to get back into the hex without falling back under Wanda's control. That's the entire reason why they're going to meet a contact. Her and Agent Wu are trying to find a way back in without losing their control.
Let's spoil something a little bit.
Well, before we do that, I think we should do another shot.
Let's do that. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because what's the point of drinking and talking nerdy if you're not doing the drinking part?
Yeah, that's the point of the podcast. We can do that.
Whew. So
smooth.
Good.
Yeah, very smooth. So, anyways, a plug. I keep saying plug. I gotta stop saying plug.
Stop saying plug.
I gotta find a better word for that. Something that's going to happen, and we're gonna ruin it for you a little bit, and that's Monica Rambeau in the comics is a version of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And
she goes by the moniker Photon.
And as we've seen her in the show so far, she's worn a necklace with Captain Marvel's emblem on it. We also know that she's a little touchy about talking about Captain Marvel. When she's been brought up, she gets out of the conversation somehow. She's not into talking about it.
And then also there's been, when she went through the Hex, obviously they did like medical testing to make sure that like she didn't have like radiation poisoning or anything like that. Her test, basically her DNA came back and it did not match her regular DNA, her normal DNA. And also all of her like x-rays, CT scans, MRIs. I don't know exactly what they're showing because I'm not a doctor.
Or a fake doctor.
Yeah, or a fake doctor. I can't even pretend.
Because they're not real doctors on the show, in case anyone was wondering.
They're not.
No.
It's just pretend, guys. But it shows like a screen grab of her scan, and it's literally just light.
Illuminated.
And in the comics, Monica goes by the hero name, the moniker, whatever you want to call it, of Photon, where she basically has powers very similar to Captain Marvel, but she can manipulate light and energy and stuff like that.
And in this past episode 6, when she's talking about going back into the Hex, Darcy stops her and says, "You cannot go back into the Hex. Here are the reasons why your molecular whatever is changed and currently changing." Yeah. And Monica basically blows it off and is like, "I've seen all that with cancer and remission," and she's basically just being stubborn and says she's going back in it anyway.
But so she reaches out to a contact. It's still a mystery who this contact person is. Just an astro engineer, basically, is all that they say.
What if it was Captain Marvel?
I doubt it's Captain Marvel. I really don't think it's Captain Marvel.
I would like to see an actual... I'm not that Vision or Wanda are not actual Avengers, but I would love to see an actual Avenger show up in the show.
I would too. I don't know if we're going to get that.
I think realistically what's going to happen is, and this is all speculation at this point because we are all caught up on the episode list so far.
Episode 7 airs this Friday.
Sometime.
The 18th, the 19th. Whatever the Friday is that's after Valentine's Day.
But I think the only person that's going to be strong enough to take Wanda on would be Monica when she potentially discovers her powers at the end of the season.
I think that that's where it's leading.
Yeah.
Or at least her powers will be able to break the Hex, and then Wanda will
be forced to face the real world
off somewhere. Because this.
Well, if Monica breaks the Hex and everybody gets released from Wanda's fuckery, then Wanda would be forced to force the real world. Forced to face the real world. And then I imagine she would be pretty pissed off because that would be everyone. Vision would be dead. And my idea is that, well, not my idea, but I feel like the big thing is that everybody who's been able to keep Wanda in check so far, including Robert Downey's Iron Man, Chris Evans' Captain America, her brother, and now Vision and
Clint,
they're all gone now.
What if Clint shows up?
That would be pretty badass.
Because then that could
He's kind of the one who talked her into becoming Avenger. You step out those doors, you're Avenger. You stay here, fuck off.
Yeah. You want to stay here and cry? That's fine. I'll go get your brother.
Yeah.
But that would be good because I'd be down with the Hawkeye show is coming.
The hot guy or the Hawkeye?
Well, I mean, with Jeremy Renner, it's the same thing.
I winked at you. I'm wearing these sunglasses. Hold on.
Bing.
Yeah.
So I mean that is coming. So that could be someone that shows up. But
I'd be down with that. Yeah.
They keep.
I still think you said one that to me that I actually really liked and I was kind of hoping for.
Yeah, because everyone is under the speculation because it's like an astro engineer, super smart guy that has space experience.
Yeah.
The running theory on the internet. This is not us. This is not what the show has said. Is that Monica's contact is Reed Richards, which, if you don't recognize the name, it's Mr. Fantastic.
If you don't recognize that name,
it's
the stretchy guy.
It's the stretchy guy from the Fantastic Four. He's basically a superhero Gumby. If you don't know who Gumby is, you're too young to be watching a show about drinking, nerding out, and swearing. And we need a written permission slip from your parents.
But please
for you
still
to continue subscribing. Tell your more adult friends to subscribe. But everyone thinks that it's going to be Reed Richards because the Fantastic Four MCU film has been confirmed. So that is coming.
There is a connection here, which, again, is speculation at this point. But I don't remember which episode it was in. Because in research, I was supposed to rewatch the episodes, and I did not have time. But in a episode... I know, fuck me. In a episode of WandaVision... I believe it's episode 4 when Monica comes back. They do... Am I right?
Yep, yes. Episode
4. Yes. They mention that there are that same guy who left Darcy handcuffed to the front of the car in the last episode mentions that there are astronauts that they sent into space that are currently missing. We believe, and again, this is speculation, that is the Fantastic Four.
Yes, because they got blipped away. And then when they come back, they're
in space.
They're still in space.
They have no idea what the fuck is going on. Sorry, I'm swearing a lot at the end.
Hey, what up? No, that's fine.
Okay. I'll dial it back.
No, you're good. But everyone thinks that it's going to be Reed Richards that is Monica's contact.
But why can't it be Reed Richards, Chad?
Well, because then that means that everyone from the Fantastic Four are back on Earth.
And if they're still missing in the current episodes... That makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But Monica does have a connection to astronomical beings, not humans that are astronauts.
So who do you personally, just Chad, think it is?
I think that her contact is Talos, who is the general leader of the Skrulls.
And if you watched the second end credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home... You would recognize him as playing Nick Fury, and he changes in the car, and then calls the actual Nick Fury. That would be Talos, in case anyone's curious.
So he is. So we know that he's on Earth.
He also has tiebacks to Captain Marvel, which is where Monica Rambeau
meets him as a child. She's like 7 years old. Yeah. She's probably like 10.
10. Yeah. Which would make her like, no, what? Yeah. We'll
make her like late 30s.
Yeah.
Because she was blipped.
Yeah.
So it could be Talos, because they would know how to engineer these.
Try not to chew my ice. Yeah. I've been swallowing the ice cubes so I don't make noise on the microphone.
Just lean back. That's fine. Because the Skrulls obviously have built... ships and stuff like that to travel through space, where they're going to encounter all sorts of different radiations as they traverse the galaxy and the universe. So they would have the know-how how to build a device or some sort of carrying container to get Monica back into the Hex.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that connection there. And then because of Spider-Man's Far From Home, which takes place just a few months after.
Before or after?
After. Because all of WandaVision basically happens within like the first few months after the blip.
Yeah, that makes sense, because episode 4 was blip.
That was, and then when she reports in and gets sucked in, it's like 3.
And then Spider-Man was
weeks.
like months after.
Yeah, it was like 8 months later. 8 months after the blip.
That makes sense.
So Talos and the Skrulls there's some Skrulls on Earth. And so that means that they have the know-how how to build these devices that can withstand that kind of radiation. And that makes way more sense than it just being like the Fantastic Four. Yeah. Plus, the Fantastic Four is kind of a cop-out if you ask me, because it's like they're now downplaying WandaVision just to reintroduce.
And they do mention
big
at some point in WandaVision, when in episode 4 again, Monica she's talking to Dickhead who left Darcy handcuffed to the car.
Should figure out his name.
Yeah, we should figure out. Look up his name.
Stop calling him Dickhead.
I'm still gonna call him Dickhead. But he basically says something about threats from space, and then she says that yes, there have been threats from space, but we've also found a lot of allies in space, and that I think that's a good setup for your theory that it's Talos. Because in Captain Marvel, the only people she knows from space would be Captain Marvel and the Skrulls. So, yeah, I think that's...
Tyler Hayward. Director Tyler Hayward is that dude's name. And he's a jerk-off.
Yeah.
To put it bluntly. Accurately, yeah, that's better.
I like that we said that at the same time.
But yeah, so that kind of gets us caught up through WandaVision.
That's where we are in WandaVision. We can't explore any more there. Where are we going here?
So now we're just final thoughts. Other things in nerd news.
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me set this up.
Okay.
Let me set this up.
You set this up.
At the end of WandaVision,
set it up.
I'm setting it up.
Set it up.
I'm setting it up.
Okay.
It's being upset.
Well, I'm getting upset.
At the end of WandaVision, the last episode, the next nerd thing that we have between WandaVision in Marvel Cinematic in the MCU, we have WandaVision. we have WandaVision. And then there's 1 week between the last episode of WandaVision and the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we are both super stoked about, and we're going to break those episodes down.
So good.
On this podcast. Right now, we're breaking down all the episodes of WandaVision just to catch up to where we are now. Our podcasts will not be specifically about WandaVision in the future.
Or the scatterbrain. We'll be a little bit more focused moving forward.
We won't, because we drink while we do this, so that's the point of it.
But we will have a more focused itinerary. How's that sound?
But in between WandaVision, the end of WandaVision, and the start of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, what do we have, Chad?
There is a full week where nothing happens. No, I'm just kidding. Week...
I built you up so good.
I know. The week in between when WandaVision is scheduled to end and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is supposed to start, there is a week where we will shift our focus 100% from Marvel to DC, because we are finally getting the Snyder Cut Justice League.
March 18th.
If any of you guys have seen the Justice League from Joss Whedon,
it sucked.
It was, it was not good. Which is really unfortunate, because Joss Whedon gave us, the first Avengers film, and that was great.
Yes, but for that type of movie. And
he tried to do that for DC,
which is very dark.
And DC 100% is not that.
Yeah.
Even the comics have always been dramatically darker. They've been more gritty.
If you've seen Man of Steel, so good. It's dark. Cinematography is great.
Man of Steel was great. For as much crap as people give it, I really enjoyed Batman v Superman.
I loved it.
I didn't like Lex Luthor, but that's because Jesse Eisenberg was not the right cast for it. He played the psychotic part of it.
I disagree. I loved it, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
If they give him more time to actually develop as like the right villain instead of just someone that's a little crazy, maybe. Because that was my hope for it. And then by the end of Dawn of Justice, I was like kind of a wet, limp noodle in my sweatpants. Like nothing was going on for me. I was just so disappointed.
That's what's always in my sweatpants.
Yeah, I just cook pasta, let it get to room temperature, and just stuff my pockets. I always have wet, limp noodles in my pockets.
I would highly suggest, if you watched the Batman vs. Superman and you did not like it, to watch the
director's cut, the
director's
extended
cut,
one,
which is it's a bit
it's
of
like 3 hours.
It's a commitment. It's 3 hours long, but it's rated R, and it's grittier. It's got better scenes in it. It's longer, which gives you more context to the story. I liked it quite a bit.
I did like the director's cut a lot better. I'm still not a huge fan of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, but I'll give it time if he's going to continue.
We did disagree.
Yeah, that's fine. You can be wrong. Then that's okay. But now they've got
Justice League.
Justice League came out. Zack Snyder left partway through making it.
Oh, yeah. We were shitting on Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we were. So Zack Snyder dropped out partway through filming Justice League
because why?
I think his daughter got sick or passed. Yeah. So it was because of really unfortunate circumstances. He completed like 90% of the movie. They picked up a different director to finish it in Joss Whedon. I have nothing against Joss Whedon.
No, yeah, he's great.
I think that he makes great films. He just wasn't the right person for that movie.
For a dark,
yeah,
gritty,
because he also gave us Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or at least started it, was for the first season or two.
He also, just for a little bit of context, he also gave us Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I didn't know that. But
and Angel. Which was a spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Didn't he give us a... now I'm fucking blanking. Didn't he give us Firefly also?
Ooh, did he? I don't know.
Wasn't he part of Firefly?
That sounds up his alley, yeah.
Up his ass. But anyway, so Joss Whedon comes in, and on top of that, Warner Brothers was like, we don't want a 3-hour movie.
Hold on. Let me back up for a sec.
No.
Zack Snyder's Justice League originally was supposed to be part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 2 films.
Yeah, so he dropped out, like Chad said. Joss Whedon came in and take it back.
And they decided, Warner Brothers, the studio, was like, no, we're just going to do 1 film. We want to keep it close to 2 hours because we're lame. And that was kind of like the going thing at the time in movies. Just like with radio, you know, if your song goes over 3.5 minutes, chances of it being on the radio, it's not going to happen because...
Unless you're Metallica.
Well, that's back in the day.
Horrible.
Think of like any modern like pop song or stuff like that. They're between that 2.5 and 3.5 minute mark. Mm. Just because it's easily digestible, which is what Warner Brothers wanted. They wanted something easily digestible. They added unnecessary humor that made no sense, that didn't fit the characters.
Wasn't funny.
Because it didn't make sense.
Yeah, it really did.
So, but they only did that because...
Not to mention the...
Marvel...
Just hack job they did on Henry Cavill's face.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Henry Cavill was at the time filming...
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
No, the Fallout. Mission Impossible Fallout. So he had a giant mustache.
Big old glorious Tom Selleck of a porn
stash. Oh, it was great, yeah.
Oh.
And they CGI'd it out, and he just looked terrible.
He looked like... we might get flack for this, but I'm going to say it anyways. He looked like if Seal got burned a second time. Much love to Seal. Fantastic recording artist. Great voice. I love his music.
I didn't say that.
But
was Chad.
Henry Cavill looked like a burn victim that went back for seconds.
It was... I don't think it looked like a burn victim. It just looked like they... Do you remember in...
Think of PlayStation 2 graphics.
No. It looked like in The Dark Knight when the Joker is not wearing any of his makeup. And he just has those... Or, no, even worse, Jack Nicholson's Joker without any makeup on. He just had that plastered...
That ridiculous, smile.
Ridiculous smile. Yeah, it was just terrible. And they just...
It was done so...
They made a very handsome man look very, very ugly. Which is a tragedy. Henry Cavill is gorgeous.
He is a beautiful man.
And yeah.
Good God, he could have my babies.
Oh,
that's
boy.
fine.
Okay.
I will grow ovaries for him.
That's not possible.
But yeah, it was terrible. They CGI'd the crap out of it. They
everything was CGI.
Ridiculous scenes.
Yeah.
They
They redid Steppenwolf's.
They dumbed down a lot of the effects as well.
Steppenwolf looked like a cartoon.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it was just a guy in a suit. As where, if you've seen the previews for Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut, hashtag the Snyder Cut, he looks so good. He's like if you watch the end of Dawn of Justice, which is the Batman vs Superman movie, they show Lex Luthor in the ship where he created Doomsday, and Steppenwolf is in the ship with him in like a holographic form almost, and he looks like a giant demon. And then when they show him in Justice League, he's just a guy in a suit. And now with the Snyder Cut, he's back to being a demon, and it's pretty awesome because Apocalypse, where
Darkseid, right?
Darkseid is from,
Apocalypse.
isn't that the name of the planet? Apocalypse?
Yes, you're right.
It's
sorry.
a hell planet. It's basically hell. Yeah. And he would be the devil on that planet. So his minions are demons. That's why they call them parademons. And his right hand man is Desaad, who we're finally going to get to see. We didn't see them in the Justice League that Joss Whedon did, but he's in the new one. Granny Goodness, you very, very briefly see her in the new preview. It's pretty cool. I don't know.
I didn't notice. No,
you see her. She's off to the right. There's like a point where there's like him. You see Desaad and Granny Goodness on the other side of him.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I didn't realize that.
If you don't, Granny Goodness is the one who opens like portals for Darkseid. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So, anyways, the preview came out today. This morning.
Oh my goodness.
Watch it. It looks so fucking good. We finally get to see the black suited Superman.
Yes, which was teased for the original Justice League release, and then it never happened.
Never happened.
Because of CGI, they just colored it in like Microsoft Paint. It didn't look good.
In the comics, the black suit is, spoiler alert, in Batman vs Superman, Superman fights Doomsday, they kill each other, Superman dies. In the comics, Superman gets resurrected and has to wear a black suit because the black suit absorbs the sun's radiation better, which makes him heal faster and get his powers back faster. And now in this movie, we finally get to see that, as where in the Joss Whedon version, he just kind of comes back and
is good.
Basically just, he's fine.
He's a little confused because his face is all computer animated. And then he goes to Kansas.
Yeah.
And then punches
his mom.
No. He punches Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
AKA Batfleck.
I love Ben Affleck as Batman.
I really like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Everyone was hating on it so bad.
I thought he played Bruce Wayne really well.
Yeah. Well, he's got the I'm sorry Ben, because you're watching this. He's got the square jaw and the butt chin. That is classic Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he looked great.
Yeah.
And also, like, if you go to, like, The Dark Knight in, like, the Christopher Nolan universe, Christian Bale's Batman, iconic.
Probably my favorite, yeah. It was good.
I loved it. But his suit is very, like, mech. You know, it's very, like, armored and stuff like that, where with Ben Affleck's, it actually goes a little bit deeper into
comic.
Yeah, where it kind
of... The gray suit and the black cowl.
And it looks a little spandexy, but it's, you know...
A little more movable,
like
breathable.
It's a high-tech, like, polymer.
Yeah.
Just like in the comics and, you know, some of the animated series where it's not like a machine suit. It's not a suit of armor. It's something that was developed to be highly, movable, agile, but it fits well, and it doesn't just look like a suit of armor.
Yeah.
Which I thought was super cool. As also... off topic of Justice League, in Batman v Superman, they kind of go into, instead of the whole Christian Bale just lowering his voice and
they did tech,
trying to be a death metal vocalist.
Yeah.
Where is she?
You know what I hated the most about that is there's a part.
It got worse and worse through each movie.
Well, there's two parts. One is where him and Christian Bale's Batman and Anne Hathaway's Catwoman are on top of a building, and they're talking, and she disappears on him, much like he does to other people. And even though he knows he's alone, he still uses the voice, and he's like, so that's what that feels like. and then at the end
I think it's because he has a choke kink. It's just so tight right here that he has a...
and then at the end of the movie, after Selena already knows that that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah.
Even just the two of them, he's still using the Batman voice.
I never put those together.
She's like,
but now that you say that,
she's
that's
like
really annoying.
She's like, come with me, and she's like, you've given them everything, and he's like, not everything. No, yeah. Yeah. So it's like, but she knows you're Bruce Wayne, and there's nobody else around. You don't have to talk like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, at least in Batman v Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman, to modulate his
Batman
voice.
voice is tech.
It's tech. It's part of the cowl.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But to circle back to the trailer, for the Snyder Cut, it looks fantastic. Amazing. We're going to get so much more story. It's supposed to be like 4 hours long.
4 hours, which originally they were going to release as a...
like 4 episodes,
4-episode miniseries, but I guess apparently from what I've read is Zack Snyder said, fuck that, and they're releasing it as a 4-hour movie. Chad and I will be watching this movie together and reviewing it shortly after. I don't know if the timing of that is going to be, but we'll do something. That will be one of the episodes. That'll probably be a whole episode.
Just a movie.
That movie.
Yeah, there will be very little. We'll still get sidetracked because alcohol.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the main focus of the episode because. Also, we've been waiting for this. This is just another...
Even before it was officially coming out, when it was just a fan hashtag they were just trying to revive.
Another instance that the internet can bully the crap out of movie studios.
The fans are so powerful. We are so powerful. We're so powerful, Chad.
Oh my goodness. I feel it. I really do.
The fans are so powerful. When Sony was going to take Tom Holland's Spider-Man out of the Disney Spider-Man movies and Marvel was like, all right, fuck them, take them. The fans basically were like, boycott Sony. They weren't going to watch we weren't going to watch any Sony movies because of it. And what happened? Tom Holland,
they struck up a deal where Marvel got more.
And now we're getting Spider-Man. So that's fantastic because
and
now Disney is just running the world because now we got Fox, we got
they took over
Sony,
everything.
We get the X-Men.
Even think back to if you guys remember the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw it. Mm-hmm. I didn't hate it. I thought it was an enjoyable film.
I loved it. It was a little kiddie.
Yeah, it was childish. That was the point of it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I thought it was great, yeah.
But
Jim Carrey killed it. He kills it in everything.
Well, yeah. Jim Carrey's... He's a god among men.
Yeah.
But do you remember when they released the trailer?
The original trailer?
And it looked like garbage.
Yeah, he had teeth and he was all weird looking.
And his eyes were little. And the internet bullied the studio
to turn him back into
reanimating the entire film. You guys don't understand, as fans, if you see something that you don't like and there's enough people that don't like it, we have power.
Yeah.
But seriously, and that's exactly what happened with the Snyder Cut. It started out as a hashtag campaign to get it released.
They started a petition.
Because when Josh Whedon's came out, people were like...
That was terrible.
And half the stuff from the trailer wasn't in the movie.
I will personally say on camera and on microphone that DC comic book wise...
On record.
Jake Peters here. DC comic book wise, I love the DC comics more than I love Marvel comics. But Marvel has just done
we're done
such...
here. I'm just kidding.
Marvel has done such a better job film wise.
Yeah.
They just killed it.
The long form storytelling that they have developed is just incredible.
Yeah, it's insane.
I hope DC tries.
I hope
harder.
DC is gonna get it done
as long as they get rid of Amber Heard. Yeah, I said it publicly.
Justice for Johnny. Yeah, for sure. I think that you better keep that part in there.
Oh, it's staying. What do you do to my straw, man?
It kept poking me in the eye when I was trying to drink out of it, so I just tucked it down there. That's what I do with my penis. Cut that part out.
That's what she said. But title of your sex tape.
Anyway, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Mm-hmm. Love it. Holy fuck. Where are we in the conversation right now? Yeah, DC, Marvel. It's gonna be good. Justice League. Watch.
And they fixed the Joker.
Oh my God!
Fixed
Watch
Jared Leto's
the trailer.
Joker.
Look at the camera. Watch the trailer.
Watch
all the way to the
trailer.
end. They show you Jared Leto's Joker at the end of the trailer. He doesn't have all the tattoos on his face and the gold teeth. He's got long hair, not the slicked back fucking whatever.
Pompadour.
Yeah, he looks amazing. It looks awesome.
He looks like the Joker. It's hard for me to picture anyone but Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
But that's because he was so iconic.
Joaquin Phoenix did a very good job, but I also think that he also kind of, the hair, the greasy, like, green hair, it looked very much like Heath Ledger's Joker, and I think there was a lot of inspiration there. So I think that's why he was able to pull that off so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This trailer for the Snyder Cut.
Back to the point here we were getting at.
Oh my
half an hour ago.
To just beat a dead horse.
The trailer for Justice League Snyder Cut is amazing. It came out today. Watch it.
And it builds so much. I'm excited.
We get to see Ezra Miller as the Flash in the Speed Force, which is so cool because you see in the crappy version of Justice League that Ezra Miller's Flash visits, or no, it's in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the crappy version of Justice League, the great version of Batman vs. Superman. You see the Flash visits Bruce Wayne as the Flash, kind of coming through like a time something.
Through the Speed Force, like a time...
warning him about
portal,
Superman.
Basically. From the future.
From the future, which is where that whole post-apocalyptic scene in the same movie showing the parademons and the Omega symbol, they kind of had taken over. Batman's in like a gray or a brown trench coat.
Which I hate the trench coat.
Superman, I kind of like
I absolutely hate the trench coat.
I like
but that's for another...
No, it's not for it. We're going to talk about it right now. We're going to talk about it right now. In a post-apocalyptic future, which they show, there are no skyscrapers in the future. They've all been torn down. Batman uses his cape to jump off of buildings and like fly. Or not fly, but like float to weird places and stuff. So if there's no... sorry, there's a dog hair floating in my face. That's what that was. If there's no buildings to jump off and shit like that, he doesn't need the cape anymore.
Yeah, then just don't... Why does he need a jacket? Is he cold?
Maybe. You don't know what the future's like.
He wasn't cold before.
He might have been. The cape could have kept him warm.
I don't think it was wool-lined. It's not a Sherpa cape.
I like the trench coat.
The trench coat is dumb.
It's awesome.
It's not. Oh, goodness.
Anyways, where were we going with that?
We're just talking about how we're excited about this.
Yes, it's going to be great.
It Ezra Miller, so much hype.
Oh, that's where it was. The Speed Force, Ezra Miller comes through the Speed Force, sets up the apocalypse where basically Superman has joined forces with Darkseid and become a bad guy. If you know about the comics, it's because Lois Lane gets killed under Batman's watch, and Superman hates Batman because of it. That's why in the post-apocalyptic version in Batman vs. Superman, you see Superman basically rip Batman's heart out. They don't show it, but he grabs him by the chest, and then you hear screaming, and it pans away, and yeah. So I would imagine we're going to see Lois Lane die at some point in the Justice League movie, and then we'll see Ezra Miller in the Speed Force, maybe correcting that. I could be totally wrong, but because if Superman becomes a bad guy because of this thing that happens, they're fucked, and they show that in the future apocalyptic scene. So I think that's where we're gonna get Ezra Miller in the Speed Force, going back in time, save Lois, keep Superman good, and then eventually at the end of the movie, saving the day.
Yeah.
We'll see. But go watch the trailer. It looks amazing. Everybody looks great.
It's going to fix the Justice League, and I think it's going to set up the future for the DC film franchise.
I hope so.
I hope so. But yeah, so I mean, that's everything that we had planned today. With that being said, if you liked the fact that we just talked and rambled, if you have questions about anything that we talked about, questions about upcoming nerd things. It doesn't have to be Marvel related. It doesn't have to be DC related.
This episode was heavily influenced by Marvel because we wanted to catch up on the previous episodes of WandaVision leading up till now. Going forward, we will kind of just touch on the episode and we'll talk about other things coming and other awesome things that we hear about.
Yeah.
Star
Wars news, Lord of the Rings.
There's a TV series coming out, which is amazing. I can't wait for that.
Really, just if you guys have any questions or just questions about us, where we got started in our nerd journeys.
We're also we're smarter than we look about this nerd stuff. That's why we did this. And we may come off a little goofy because we're just riffing off each other and drinking a little bit. But if you have questions or if you're confused about something anywhere in the timeline from Iron Man 1 to Endgame or now, just let us know and ask us a question. And I'm sure between the two of us, we could probably answer whatever you're looking to get answered.
If you have questions for us about anything,
put it on the website or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere. And if we see it and we think we can answer it, we'll give you a shout out. We'll answer your question for you. Hopefully we can be helpful in that way.
Yeah, you can find us online, like he said, Facebook. Just search All Things Nerd Podcast. Instagram at All Things Nerd Pod. TikTok, it's All Things Nerd Pod or All Things Nerd Podcast. You can find us online at www.allthingsnerdpodcast.com. Or if you just want to email us, you can definitely email us at hello@allthingsnerdpodcast.com. Send us your questions. If there's certain topics that you want us to cover, not necessarily questions, you just want to hear a deeper dive or our opinions. We plan on going back through past DC movies, past Marvel films, past just like nerd things.
Future stuff too.
Yeah, stuff that's created, some sort of like cult following, like
as nerdy things happen.
Matrix.
Yeah, as nerdy things come up, we'll keep talking about them. We'll stay relevant.
Yeah, so hit us up there. Like, follow, share, do whatever. Please subscribe if you liked what we had to talk about.
Subscribe.
If you thought it was fun, but you don't care about subscribing, but you know people that do, please share this with people. This is just something that we like to do. We would love to reach more people.
This is what we do anyway. We're just putting a camera and a microphone in front of us.
Yeah, this is literally just what we do.
Also, this is kind of a new idea, but if there's anything that you want us to watch and review, let us know. We'll watch it.
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
Not? Yeah. If you know like a TV show or a movie or something like that, or maybe that slipped under the radar,
short series.
If we know about it and we've already watched it, books too. Yeah, we'll talk about it. And if we haven't watched it, if we think it's nerd worthy, we'll get on it and we'll review it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Suggestions are welcome.
Yeah, and as this grows, especially on Facebook and stuff like that, we're gonna create different groups for things to go on behind the scenes as well. I know something that I would love to do is get some sort of like virtual game group going on where we do some sort of nerdy game just in a virtual setting. And we'll just kind of take it from there. Again, www.allthingsnerdpodcast.com. There'll be links to everything from there.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're going to sign off.
We're going to close out.
Got our end of episode shot.
Mm-mm.